Welcome to the Alouettes Flightdeck, the podcast dedicated to Montreal Alouettes football. I'm Cliffy D. You can find me on X at Cliffy D.
And I'm Tim Capper. You can also find me on X, but at Repact. That's REPPACT. And this episode of the podcast is presented by our good friends over at SportBuff, where if you use the promo code ALSFlightDeck10 at checkout, you will save 10% off your entire order. So go to sportbuffshop.com, use the promo code, save 10%, support local, and come away with some sweet, sweet merch.
Mm-hmm. And of course, the Alouettes Flightdeck is all over social media and the World Wide Web. If you haven't already, make sure you check out www.alouettesflightdeck.ca to access our entire 7+ year archive of the show. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter /X at Alouettes FLDeck. You can find us on Instagram at Alouettes Flightdeck, as well as Fred's at Alouettes Flightdeck. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/Alouettes Flightdeck Pod. And of course, we are also on Blue Sky. That's Alouettes FLDeck.bsky.social, I believe it is.
Yep.
Be sure to check out our YouTube page as well with our Flight Deck live episodes archived there as well over at youtube.com/Alouettes Flightdeck. And last but certainly not least, if you want to support this podcast, make sure you check out our merch store over at www.flightdeckgear.ca.
It's all, they are, the CFL always touts what's it like, what teams are after coming off of a bye week. What are we coming off of a bye week? What's our record? Are we undefeated? Just you and me?
I think we are. I think we are undefeated. Alouettes not always, but
no.
I like to think we are undefeated going.
Yes, I think so too. I think so too. It's so tough having these. I will admit, having these shows after a bye week. You and I have done special episodes. We've done watch-alongs. We've done almost everything we can to try to, bring you guys the show each week when sometimes there is no news. But luckily for us, we made the change to Wednesday nights.
and thankfully, typically during a bye week, at least over the past little while, usually is when some crazy stuff goes down, or some sort of seismic shift happens that completely turns the Montreal Alouettes on its ear. Or
do you feel that?
To do so.
Do you feel that? No, not this week. Okay.
Nada. This has been perhaps the most uneventful bye week for the Montreal Alouettes, and I, for one, am eternally grateful.
And 2 years at least.
Nobody got fired. Nobody, quit. Nobody got traded. Nothing happened. Literally nothing happened, and I am extremely grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree, dude. But again, we were lucky. I said, making the shift over to Wednesdays, so many years ago, giving us enough time to have a little bit more news that come out that we could talk about in weeks like this, and we did. I think we had heard this coming. This was somewhere within the hopper itself that this was going to be coming out. I think there were rumors. Then we were watching our guys over on Turf District last night, and they mentioned it too. And lo and behold, dude. We had all of the nominees, the team nominees for the CFL awards were announced today, and that coincides perfectly. It coincides perfectly with who we're going to be talking with this week. But we'll get to that interview in a little bit. But it will be one of these current gentlemen that we're going to be about to be talking about, who we are going to be speaking with. Isn't that one hell of a teaser, Cliff? Oh my God,
man. If you folks weren't excited now, then I don't know what to tell you, because we're going to be having a very special guest who will be nominated, or mentioned, I should say, as part of the nominations. So stay tuned.
Yeah, exactly. You and I have been talking over the last couple of weeks who we feel was most worthy to be nominated to be one of the guys that will be hopefully moving on into the East nominees for X Player of the Year or whatever it may or some X of the Year award, whatever it may be. And I'm curious to know your thoughts on the final announcement for the Alouettes. First question I do want to ask you, though, is not Owls related, because it really was, I think it was, we're talking about seismic shifts. And we just get real quickly talk about it. What's your thought on Zach Collaros not being nominated for MOP this year by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers?
On the surface, considering he's a back-to-back defending most outstanding player, your first thought is shock, because wow, okay. I mean, he hasn't fallen off. He still plays at a very, very high level. But when we found out that it was actually going to be Brady Oliveira, who is the Winnipeg nominee for most outstanding player, I'm like, yeah, that fits, because he truly has been outstanding this year. I mean, there's absolutely no question. I mean, he's a Canadian kid, so I truly expected him to be the most outstanding Canadian nominee, and sure enough, he was. Mm-hmm. But most outstanding player, I'm like, you know what? That actually checks off all the boxes. Like we've come to expect Zach Collaros to play at a very high level. I mean, let's not forget, he's been to the last 3 Grey Cups, won 2, lost 1. Mm-hmm. Or damn near won 3. I mean, like, there's no question. The talent level is second to none when it comes to Zach Collaros. He truly is one of the elite quarterbacks in this league, and had himself a very stellar year this year. There's no one's going to argue that. But I think it's that thing that we talked about. Remember last year when we talked about when Zach Collaros won the back-to-back, beating out Geno Lewis, who was the Eastern nominee. Like, well, we weren't completely opposed to the idea, but at the same time, we obviously we're backing our guy Geno. There's no question about that. So we're probably a little bit biased in this thing, but we expect Zach Collaros to be at a high level. We expect him to be outstanding. So it wasn't a surprise, but it you understood why he won it the past 2 years, but this year, like, he hasn't dropped off at all.
No.
But at the same time, you look at what Brady Oliveira has done for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and he definitely deserves to be, like, there's no question he had an outstanding year. Like, you talk about valuable, and would you say that Zach Collaros is more valuable to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers than Brady Oliveira? That's really a hard thing to say, because he's been healthy. He hasn't really been replaced other than like in garbage time kind of thing. Like, he really hasn't suffered any major injury that caused him to lose any real playing time this year. So it's hard to say, like, if it's very hard. I guess this is what I'm trying to say here. But I mean, Brady Oliveira truly had himself a phenomenal season this year.
It's very weird to see a team such as good as Winnipeg not pick their quarterback. I think that would be the case for any team. It would be like Toronto not picking Chad Kelly. You know what I mean? But
that would be a hell of a lot more surprising, to tell you the truth. That like you're right. Typically, the quarterback or somebody on the offense would be the nomination for most outstanding player, unless I think Cameron Wake was the last, or was it Solomon Eliminium that was the last MOP, like defensive player that was MOP. It's funny because I guess a lot of people think, oh, well, they got their own category, defensive players. So but again, if someone is truly outstanding, then that would be your nomination. So it's really interesting. But there is no question. Brady Oliveira had himself one hell of a 2023 season. Not to say that Zach Collaros didn't, but I'm not surprised, and I'm not even mad at the nomination. I think Brady Oliveira can definitely make a case for MOP this year.
Out of the list for the Alouettes that was announced today, Cliff, only one of the players was a unanimous selection. Before we go over them and say who that person was, does that surprise you that only one, based on the 6 gentlemen that I'm looking at here, are you surprised that only one of them was listed as got a unanimous choice?
Not really. I think, like when I look at all the categories, and you can make cases for certain players, and the idea that one particular player was, like, whether it's offense, defense, offensive lineman, special teams, rookie, there is at least 2 or 3 players in those categories that you could make a serious case for.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to most outstanding Canadian, which was the unanimous choice, yeah, you take a look at the other Canadians, and it's not to say they're bad by any stretch. It's not. It's just that this particular nominee truly was head and shoulders, like to the point where you'd be stunned to learn that someone else was nominated in his place. Like this was.
I'd love to know. I'd love to know some of these other positions. Who else was given a potential, check mark on the ballot itself? But enough teasing about it, dude. Let's go and let's talk about it here. So the Alouettes announced today the 6 players that were voted for our most outstanding players in that position, and we'll find out what happens very shortly. I'm sure we'll be able to talk about it next week. Who has moved on potentially to be the East nominee, and who will be heading to Niagara Falls at Grey Cup to go against their Western counterpart to be named the best person at their position in the CFL in 2023. It's funny, I just noticed that they dated the press release 2022. Anyways, I'll leave it at that. So first of all, the most outstanding player for the Alouettes is Austin Mack, and to you and I, this is not a surprise at all. You and I still have to come up with that other award name that we can give him, considering that he can't be a rookie of the year because he had already had some NFL experience already. Right. But Austin, this is no surprise. And by the way, he was asked today during today's post practice scrum. Obviously he was grateful to get this thing, but to him he said, there's more work to do. He said there are still 3 guys ahead of me. He's approximately 150 yards, I think, from being in first place and leading the CFL in receiving yards. That's what his goal is this week. He's happy to have the nomination, but obviously looking forward to, even though it is a glorified preseason game versus Hamilton this Saturday, he's looking at becoming not only the nomination for the Alouettes, but also potentially finishing the year as the top wide receiver in the CFL. But Austin Mack, well deserved. If we can't think of another award to give him, this is something he deserved easily.
Yeah, without question. I mean, we've watched his progression from training camp all the way till today. It has been a journey, and it has been so much fun to watch this guy. I mean, he's just absolute highlight reel material. I mean, he's the Big Mac for a reason.
Oh, yes.
He makes catches. He gets the yards. He scores touchdowns. He does it all. I mean, he has definitely been a bona fide playmaker. Each and every time he steps on the field, you got to pay attention for this guy. You as a defense, you have to respect what Austin Mack can do. And let's not forget, this is his first year in the Canadian Football League. Yes, he had a cup of coffee in the National Football League, so he knows how to play the position. But for him to come up and just dominate, to just put up some absolutely incredible numbers in his first year is nothing short of incredible. And obviously, like, you take a look at all the other potential nominees for this, like, who do you think was really outstanding? Like, Austin Mack, as far as I'm concerned, checks off all the boxes quite handily. And to me, I'm not surprised that we talked about wanting to make an award for him. Well, this is quite the award for him to be nominated for.
Yeah.
I mean, most outstanding. I mean, that's no small feat. I mean, you take a look, like last year, Geno Lewis, also a wide receiver, was the most outstanding nominee, and that turned into the Eastern most outstanding nominee, and probably should have won most outstanding player last year. But do I think Austin Mack has the opportunity to do it this year? I think he does. I definitely think you can make an argument for him. I mean, yes, Chad Kelly will more than likely be the most outstanding Eastern representative, but I mean, because you can't deny what he's done this year by any stretch. But Austin Mack definitely is making the case. He's made the case, quite frankly, and I'm thrilled beyond belief that his teammates have recognized that in him, and so happy for Austin, because we've had him on the show. Definitely a great guy. Love spending time with him. Love chatting with him, and see him put in the work that he has and getting the results that he's getting. Absolutely outstanding. Like, I have a feeling, it would be great to see him in Hamilton this year, obviously to win the Grey Cup. But if we can see him at the CFL Awards as a nominee, I mean, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, I'm hoping against hope that it's going to happen, but I'm just saying, if somehow, some way, the league recognizes him as the Eastern nominee for most outstanding player, I wouldn't be mad at all.
Yeah. Second person who was announced today, and I don't know if this was a surprise to me. I think there really weren't very many eyebrow raising nominations. This might give one to me a little bit, but for defensive player of the year for the Alouettes, it goes to Tyrese Beverett. We could easily, I think, have given it also to Marc-Antoine Dequoy, but something, Tyrese had a great year. He really did. And, he's very humble about it too. In today's press practice scrum too, he was like, well, I'm not really a guy, looking at personal accolades, there's still some work to do, that type of thing. Surprised it was Beverett, or I think it's a great nomination. But what are your thoughts on him nabbing this spot for the Alouettes?
Definitely deserved. I mean, he definitely made his case this year as well. I was thinking maybe the thought was leaning more towards Sean Lemon, because ever since he came on board, even though he didn't play the entire year for the Alouettes, the impact that he has made, and you're seeing, it's like a butterfly effect. With him playing and bringing up the defensive line and making them play better as a result. I mean, that to me is outstanding. Wesley Sutton has been outstanding this year as well. He's definitely been a major playmaker. Marc-Antoine Dequoy, of course, has been on another level. But Tyrese Beverett, I think you talk about consistency, like just consistently good and just constantly improving, constantly almost trying to better himself and just being a major force. Like this guy, he is such a playmaker. There's no question about that. Does a lot of the dirty things, does a lot of the, like you see him in the trenches. He's working hard, and he makes plays happen. He makes turnovers happen, and he's been able to profit from turning a couple of fumbles into touchdowns. That quarterback sack against Edmonton, he just ragdolled Trey Ford. And he does things like that. Like he gets in the quarterback's grill and makes his life miserable. He is, I would say, the most complete defensive player that the Alouettes have. And I guess that is probably what makes him outstanding more than anything else. Because, again, you can make a nomination for any number of the defensive players. Like the guys that I just mentioned, for example. You could have made an argument for any of those guys, and I'd go along with it. But Tyrese, I think, has, like, when you talk about the complete package, like the guy that does pretty much everything, that's what Tyrese is. And quite frankly, I think that this is a very solid nomination. Obviously not unanimous because of the other players that I mentioned, but when you look at the entire body of work, what Beverett's been able to do in 2023, and you saw it the year before as well, like he was a major playmaker as well towards the end of the season last year, and it just continued on into 2023. And yeah, he truly has been a force this year. There's no question in my mind. Like when you look at everything that Tyrese Beverett has done in 2023, it's very easy to say, yeah, that really is outstanding what he's been able to do.
Yeah, for sure. I got a feeling he would be the reason why he didn't get a unanimous nod. Probably, I said Dequoy and some of the others. So it's it's tough trying to choose a guy to be your most outstanding player when you haven't been here for the entire season. Yeah, but that comes up every year too, though, Cliff, is that if you're really that good, even if you've been hurt, it does give, if you can give credit to the person no matter what, sure. But this is to me, this is the only one I probably could have flip-flopped on, but that's just me. But Good on for Tyrese getting to get this nod.
Yeah, you wouldn't be mad at necessarily at the other players that I had mentioned. Like as I said, you could make a solid case for those guys as well. But Tyrese is like when you think about everything that has happened this year defensively, he's been in that mix. He has been a part of that more often than not. I mean, that's when you talk about the entire package, like the complete package, that's really what it comes down to with Tyrese Beverett. And ultimately, not again, it is so hard with his defense to say unanimously that he's the nominee or anyone really. So, but I definitely think without question, Tyrese is a very, very good candidate, and someone too that I truly would not be mad to see advance to the next round to be the Eastern representative for most outstanding defensive player.
Yeah, people need to remember. I mean, we still have one game to go, dude. He has 85 defensive tackles, 17 on special teams, 7 sacks. Yeah, that right there. That's it. That right there. You can't. Again, stats that back this up. We're talking about the player who, there's only one player who got a unanimous selection, and I'm pretty spot on about. I think I'm pretty spot on about this, just based on his current pedigree this year. The most outstanding Canadian for the Alouettes. The nomination went to Marc-Antoine Dequoy, and for Dequoy, yeah, dude, I'm not surprised in any way, shape, or form. I mean, we got some great Canadians on this team, but out of all the Canadians that we currently have on the roster, yeah, Dequoy he's the one that really stood out, and he's well deserved to get the unanimous nod.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. There are some really talented Canadians on this roster. There's no question about that. But Dequoy is head, shoulders, chest, waist. He's that much above those players.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes.
I mean, he truly is. He's in a tier all by himself, to tell you the truth, when it comes to this. Like, the Canadian talent on this team is absolutely great, but Dequoy really, truly has been that guy all year long. I mean, he has been like a major star on this defense. He has made plays happen. He has really won people over. I think everybody in Alouettes Nation loved him because of the fact he's from Quebec. He's a homegrown talent. He was a star at the Université de Montréal and playing for his hometown team. Like, you want, that's the guy you want to hitch your wagon to as far as like the star goes. And he's embraced it. Like he's become that guy. He has become the guy that you can market and you can build around. And you can see that the team has done that. And it's all well and good to have that. And truthfully, I don't feel like it's gone to his head. I think he accepts that he has to be that guy, like the guy that they can market around. But at the same time, his play on the field speaks for itself. And he truly, like league wide, people are recognizing just how dangerous he is as far as free safety goes. Like he has truly been a heat-seeking missile. I mean, the speed of this guy is it's incredible. I mean, like he there are times though where that speed kills. Like he goes to make a tackle and he's gone so fast that he's blown right past his target. I mean, okay,
the return in Ottawa. The return in Ottawa. That's a good example.
Well, that exactly like if you didn't know better, you would have swore he had a rocket up his ass. That's how fast he was going. Taking that, what was it, 105 or 109 yards back? That pick six?
I think it was a 108. It's on 108. 108 or 109. But still.
In any event, I mean, like, that was just one of his 5 interceptions. 2 pick sixes this year. 1 in Ottawa, 1 in Winnipeg. The guy's just a phenomenal defensive player. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he's Canadian is just like the cherry on top as far as developing Canadian talent. Like, this is what, like, when you talk about youth sports and you talk about the CFL draft and how important it is to help develop these young Canadians, it's the quad that they're talking about when it comes to fostering that talent. Like, again, someone born and raised in Quebec, played his university football here. Like, this isn't a guy that went down to the NCAA and got owned there. Like, he got, was able to polish his skills there. No, he did it here in Canada and was good enough to get invited to the Green Bay Packers training camp, or at least go to a couple of mini camps for them. Like, there's no question the guy's got talent. There absolutely is no question. Like, and just a perfect fit for the Canadian Football League, and he has proven it. He has stepped up to the challenge each and every time. He definitely is a recognizable player. You see a lot of 24 jerseys, a lot of Dequoy jerseys out there, and this year, I mean, if there was ever just a little bit of doubt, and I'll be the first to admit it. Last year, I felt, okay, this guy really is getting a lot of hype and hasn't quite lived up to it just yet. Not this year. This year, he's proven he is worth the hype. He is worth the price of admission alone. Like, he has won me over as far as, like, when I talk about how talented this Alouettes defense is, Dequoy is one of the first names that I will bring up, just for his playmaking ability, the way he sees the field, that blistering speed. I mean, there's so many incredible things to like about this guy, and just a true representative of Canadian football. I mean, again, with no disrespect intended at all for the other Canadian players on this roster. I mean, Marc-Antoine Dequoy truly is that guy. He is truly head and shoulders, everything above else, and definitely deserves to be a unanimous pick for most outstanding Canadian. And just may be. I honestly think he will be the Eastern representative for most outstanding Canadian.
I agree with you on that one too.
It just sucks that he has to go up against Brady Oliveira, because there is no way in hell that Brady Oliveira does not win most outstanding Canadian. Which, again, if you're going to come in second place, that's the guy to come in second place to. It just sucks for Dequoy, because I truly think Dequoy will be that guy. He will be the Eastern nominee, but
we won't talk about West. We won't talk about West bias.
Yeah.
By the way, runner up to Luau Uguak for Canadian, you think? In your opinion?
Yeah. No, I mean, Luau.
I mean, unless you can think of another Canadian on the team.
Oh, there's several. I mean, like I said, it'd be criminal to start naming them, because they've all been good contributors. They've all been solid. Yeah, Luau especially, because his first year as well. But again, when you talk about like true Canadian talent, like, again, Dequoy is everything that you want in a most outstanding Canadian nominee. And
to get a unanimous, to get a unanimous vote. Yeah, I mean, it says it right there. Offensive linemen. I think this is very funny considering what happened just a couple of weeks ago. For the Alouettes, our nominee is Pierre-Olivier Lestage.
Mm-hmm.
People don't remember what happened last week. 2 weeks ago, he got ejected. So we still don't know the full story behind that, by the way, but still.
And we probably never will. And that's unfortunate. But like I said, I sincerely hope it was just something that just... I think he'd just as soon forget about it, too, to tell you the truth. I think it's like, okay, you know what? It happened. It sucked. He learned his lesson. He got dinged for it. Time to move on.
Was he fined? I never looked. Was he fined?
Yes, he was.
Okay. I don't remember looking at the fine report. So, okay.
Yeah, he was fined. Tyson Philpott and Austin Mack were fined for that couch popcorn celebration in Edmonton.
You called that one.
Mm-hmm. Hey, sorry, you can't have fun. I mean, if you can't crush a beer after scoring a touchdown and not get dinged, I mean, I'm sorry, jumping on a couch and throwing popcorn in your face like you're at home celebrating, can't do that either. Yeah, it's gonna cost you a few bucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but it's funny because initially I thought it was just Tyson that was in on that, but apparently Austin too. He jumped on the couch and. Yeah, he joined the party as well. So, yeah, he gets dinged too. Like, damn, I mean, between being ejected for an open-handed punch and then celebrating with his teammate, man, we've got to start a GoFundMe for Austin or something. Maybe that's why he was. I wonder if that's the reason why he was the most outstanding nom. Because, like, okay, maybe if there's any sort of cash reward, there's sort of possibility that. Use that to help pay your fines because, dude, you are getting dinged left, right, and center. Like your pocketbook is taking a hit.
Yeah. Any thoughts on Lestage getting the nod?
Well, it's funny because when I think about this offensive line, I mean, a lot of talent. There truly is, and
it didn't start off well. Everybody knows how much we went into the fact that how many sacks that we gave up within the first 4 or 5 games. Way too many. But it settled down. It
settled down, and you can even go so far as to say, like, well, when Fajardo gets sacked, it's because he decided to go into business for himself as opposed to his offensive line failing him. If anything, they've given him a heck of a lot more time and space to work with in the pocket than in the first few matches this year.
Yeah.
So you really couldn't blame the offensive line if Cody was getting sacked still. I mean, at this point, like Cody's got to own up a little bit and it's like, yeah, that the couple of those sacks, that's on me. That's on me. Like, it is what it is. But when I look at this offensive line, I mean, a lot of talent. There really is a lot of talent. Everybody's been very good. It's hard to really say someone had been outstanding, though. I mean, ultimately, Lestage is a very good pick because a lot of these guys have been very good. I think Justin Lawrence, Landon Rice, even Christian Matt. I mean, like these guys have all done extremely well this year. They've all done very, very good things. It's still hard to really pinpoint anything outstanding other than the fact that, keeping Fajardo upright. I mean, that in itself, especially when you look at the first part of the year compared to now, that in and of itself, I guess, can be considered outstanding. Lestage has been really good, though. I mean, he's been a solid presence at guard. Definitely has worked very hard and proved himself to be a very, very solid player this year. I mean, it's kind of a tough category because it's not like there's one particular instance where you can say that one particular guy was like, oh, yeah, that's him. That's the guy right there. That was outstanding. Valuable would be a different story, though, because I look at Landon Rice. I could probably, had he not gotten hurt, you could make the argument for him. I think he has truly been a valuable asset for the Alouettes. Outstanding. It's kind of hard to be outstanding when, unfortunately, you're on the 6-game injured list. So that would be a very tough sell at that point to me. Again, you could probably if I was going to make a real argument, it would have to be for either Lestage, Lawrence, or Nick Callender even. But I mean, I think Lestage is a very safe pick. I mean, again, a Canadian player as well. So I mean, like when we were talking earlier about most outstanding Canadians, I mean, I wouldn't say that Lestage was outstanding, but definitely very, very good. I mean, but of course, it's not the most very good offensive line. It's most outstanding. Can I say without conviction that Pierre-Olivier Stage is outstanding? I can't, and I'm not saying it to be insulting. It's just a matter of very good. Like it's all of these guys, I think, have been very good. It was rough, a little rough to start the year off, but this offensive line has found its form and has done a very good job of keeping their quarterback upright, creating holes for the running backs, just offering the protection needed in order to make plays happen. But I'm not mad at the Lestage nomination. I think the other linemen have done bigger things and have been more noticeable this year. But I think for the Alouettes, I think Lestage would be a very, very good representative. So I'm not mad at this at all.
This is the next one, which is the most outstanding special teams player, something that's usually dominated by a returner, usually for the Alouettes, at least over the past couple of years. This year, we gave it to Joseph Zima. It was given to Joseph Zima. I mean, it's very surprising that you would you give it to a punter. Very surprising that you did that, but you think about the issues that we had at the return game this year. There are limitations in a way of who you can actually give the award to. But David Cote was near the end of the year, a little yippy. I think that was the term that you were using. But I'm okay. As I said, usually I'm for one of the. For the first time in a while, I'm sad that it's not one of our returners, but our returners really did not have a very good year. So I'm okay with Zima getting it, but for punter, okay. Hey, if they're gonna give it to a punter, can they give it to Jeshua Antwi?
Right? I mean, as far as outstanding punters go, I mean, he only had one, but it was outstanding. So
yeah, I know.
By default, you could make an argument, a bit of a tough argument, but you can make an argument for Jeshua Antwi as well.
Yeah, but I mean, 47.4 yards per punt. He does have a booming kick. He has been consistent all year. Even with all the issues that the Owls had early on with scoring offensive touchdowns, but he's been he's been consistent. So I'm okay with it. But again, hopefully next year we'll be able to get back to what's the norm and have one of our returners listed as the non. But I'm okay with Zima.
Yeah, it is unfortunate because you take a look at the return game this year, and Chandler Worthy has been good when he's played, but hasn't really exploded like we had expected him to.
And then he goes on the 6th game.
Well, that's it. Injury bug hits, and that sometimes that just happens. That's football for you, unfortunately. David Cote, when he's good, he's very good. But when he has those, I don't know what's in his head this year, but a lot of those mental miscues have really come back to bite the Alouettes hard, and it's tough. I feel for the guy because you see the efforts there. When he's on, absolutely outstanding. When he's off, yikes. I mean, it's that risk reward, I guess you can call it. And
we've been lucky that it really has not come back to bite us in the ass. I mean, especially during a lot of it has occurred during the Alouettes' current 4-game winning streak.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. No,
as we joked in Ottawa, September's over. It's October.
It is.
So
yes.
So let's So I don't know if maybe the 2 weeks off was from Altos being in the starting lineup was a test or was a break. You know what I mean? So we'll leave it at that because as we'll talk about after our interview and preview the game coming up, he's back. He needs to say he's back practicing. So
yeah, and that's it. So yeah, I am perfectly fine with Zima getting the nomination. He definitely has been outstanding. I think, as you said, booming leg. He's done a great job flipping the field for the Alouettes, making opposing quarterbacks have to work in order to score on their ensuing drives. He's even scored a couple of rouges, which is nice. Coffin corner kicks. He hasn't had too many of those, but there's been a couple times where he's been able to pin opposing players deep, which is great. And
no returns for touchdowns on any of his punts.
No, and that again, that's
I think that's one stat. That's one stat I think people need to remember too. So based off of the special teams coverage and obviously off of his punts, he's done what he needs to do.
And let's not forget his outstanding defensive play when it came to in Ottawa.
That's what he got it for. Come on. Kung Fu kicker, baby. Yeah.
Kung Fu Zima was
Kung Fu kicker. I love it. Yeah. That's what nailed it. That's what sealed it for him right there.
I think that's what it was. I think that one play alone, I was like, okay, that's our guy. That's that was our outstanding special team. That was an outstanding special teams play. I mean, that was breaking T-shirt worthy. But it wasn't made. That would have made a shirt for sure. So I'll give you my money right away, right away. And lastly, for the Alouettes, most outstanding rookie. This was, I'm sure, we had so many rookies on this team. Asamak Asai, which we would give the award as best first year player. There we go. Best first thing.
Yeah, best first year player. This gentleman also happens to be our interview this week, which we'll be getting to in a little bit, very shortly, actually. But most outstanding rookie nod this year, Cliff, goes to a gentleman we've been talking about for quite a while, Reggie Stubblefield.
Yeah, and what a story! Just his story alone makes such a great case for most outstanding rookie. And I'll go so far as to say for the entire league.
Yeah, I agree. It's book worthy.
It's Disney. It's Disney. Disney should be making this movie. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, kid comes in to his first training camp, gets cut on the final day. Truly was a numbers game. That would, for a lot of kids, that's where the dream dies. That's where you're like, okay, I try. If I again, it's that mentality, right? Well, if I can't make it in the CFL, then I guess I'm not that good a football player, and I'll go work a regular job. No, Reggie was not. He was not having that. He's like, okay, I'll show you. I'm going to stay ready because you're going to be calling me. And sure enough, a couple injuries pop up. Reggie's back in Montreal, and you knew he was going to make every effort. He was not going to waste the opportunity. And sure enough, this kid has just been absolutely lights out. Just playmaking ability, like just making things happen. Just absolutely outstanding. Week after week after week, he has been truly on fire. Like I mean, that's not to say the other rookies that were nominated haven't been great. I mean, you look at Tyler Snead, you look at Lawal Ugalak. Like these are guys you could make arguments for these guys as well as far as most outstanding rookie. And any other year, they would have been a runaway candidate. But what Reggie has done this year on the field, like my goodness, like he really has earned that nomination. And factor in his story, factor in what it took, like the journey basically from training camp, that final day and being cut to where we are today as we are about to enter the playoff picture.
Exactly.
It's phenomenal. I mean, as I said, Disney can easily do a movie about this. It's
did
crazy.
it in 12 games. 12 games. 37 defensive tackles, 3 on special teams, 3 sacks, knockdown passes galore, et cetera, et cetera. And I know as we were saying before, there's a story to it, Cliff. So before we give any more away, sir, go ahead and lead us into this interview that we had with Reggie.
100%. It was such a treat to talk to this young man. And, you know, we've been following him. We've been following this story pretty much from training camp on. Like we were made aware, like you gotta keep an eye on this guy. You got something special here. And sure enough, like from what we've seen already is outstanding. And truly, we haven't even scratched the surface of what this young man can do. And so excited. We're so honored to be able to have him on the podcast. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is our absolute pleasure to bring on the one, the only, number 35 for the Montreal Alouettes, Reggie Stubblefield. Ladies and gentlemen, we are joined this evening by number 35 of the Montreal Alouettes, Reggie Stubblefield, who, as of today, is the official most outstanding rookie nominee for the Canadian Football League, as far as the Alouettes go. Reggie, welcome to the Alouettes Flightdeck, and we are so excited to have you on tonight, man.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So first and foremost, congratulations are definitely in order. Most outstanding rookie nom. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing stuff. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling about that right now?
Well, I'm happy to win the award. It means a lot, especially considering how the beginning of my year started. And then now, a lot of hard work and dedication and staying focused and just doing what I needed to do my best to be an impact to the team. So it means a lot, and I'm happy about the award nomination.
Well, obviously, it's funny. It's how we wanted to talk with you because, you know, you have had, if nobody could write the story that you've had this year, Reggie, at all. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's gone from, I'm sure, so many highs to so many lows, and we want to get into that. But first thing I wanted to ask you was, when it came to becoming a part of the Montreal Alouettes and the CFL, how did that process go? Had you heard of the CFL before? Who contacted you to get you to say, hey, you know what? Montreal's looking to add you to the team.
Yeah, so Coach Byron, our special teams coach, was the first one to reach out to me. And then from there, I spoke to our head coach, Coach Moss. And I had been on about the CFL a little bit, but never watched it too much and understood all the rules that the game came with. But I was aware, and I wanted to take opportunity and a chance to play professional football again and then to come up all the way to Canada from Texas and just give it another shot of it, a pro career, and then just make the most out of it.
Now, let's get into the process of you coming to Montreal because, like I said, this story is just absolutely incredible. I mean, you really couldn't write this if you're a Hollywood writer, come up with this and be like, get the hell out of here. This is crazy.
Yeah, that's what a lot of my teammates said. That's crazy. That's crazy.
But let's go. You get invited to training camp. You go. You put it on. You put it on film. You do everything right, and then they bring you in the last day and they tell you man, you did great, but we got to let you go. Take us through that process.
Well, it was also more so too, like when I was in my exit meeting with a head coach and a scouting director. I didn't want to say their names, but they told me, man, I basically was the last cut, and it was a tough decision. And if anything happens, I will be the first guy called back. And something did happen, and they stuck on their word, and they brought me back sooner than I thought. So, man, the emotions of being cut, though, it sucked because I really wanted to be an Alouette. I really wanted to play in the Canadian League, and I wanted to have, like I said earlier, another chance at a pro career. So it was just like, I don't know, it sucked. Like, it was heartbreaking, honestly, because, like, I put a good body of work throughout camp. Like, the film was great. A lot of other teams actually wanted me, but I just decided to come back to Montreal, a place I was familiar with.
Oh, that's interesting. And we're not surprised though either, Reggie, because we were there actually in Trois-Rivières. We saw you in camp. We saw what you did during practice and during the scrimmage, obviously. So, yeah, I mean, did you end up heading home after they cut you, or did they say, "Hold on, stay close. We have a plan for you"?
Nah, I was on a one-way flight back home. I went to Texas, but I believed in what some of my coaches were saying, and like I said, the scouting guy, and I trusted them. I went back home, put my head down, and went to work every single day, like in the morning, afternoon. I was grinding hard, but I did start applying for jobs. Not gonna lie about that, because I ain't getting no money here, so I had to get some money somewhere. So I was just actually about to go to like some job interviews, and then they called me that day. I was like, okay, never mind.
I think
was it for any interesting jobs, like, or was it like DoorDash or something like that? What?
Nah, it was honestly just some get on your feet, just make some money type jobs. I'm about to work at a grocery store. Probably was gonna be bagging groceries, and then at night I was gonna be working at like an Amazon delivering packages. So just something to start my feet. In the off season, I coach and teach, but I just didn't want to invest all my time back into a high school program or a classroom and have to leave those kids again, like I did when I came to Canada. So take some easy jobs.
Because they always tell you stay ready, right? So it's just you never know when the phone's going to ring. So I guess that's what it was just like you said, you got to make money, but at the same time, you want to make sure that at the drop of a hat, you're ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad I didn't do that job interview.
So you basically go from, and I curious to know what you thought about what your thought was on Trois-Rivières for training camp versus, because then you get called from you call back to the team and you're coming to Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like between the two different type of cities? Because I know Texas. It can be big city or small town, but it's what was it like for you at training camp versus coming to Montreal for the very first time?
Yeah, so leading up to signing to Montreal for camp, all you heard about was the city, and those were the places that I would look up on YouTube, trying to find some vlogs about and stuff like that. And then they say, oh, we're going to Three Rivers for training camp. I'm like, okay, what's Three Rivers? And then I get out there, and it's quiet. It's quiet. It looks like that's where people probably stay for retirement, just chill, relax, and a couple colleges. So I guess people go there for school, get good education and all that, but from there, then I get called back to go to Montreal, and I'm like, okay, I see the difference. I see what they was talking about. It's a big city. It's fun. People are always active, walking around, and so many places to go and see and good foods to eat. So it was night and day. It was crazy.
Yeah. What part of the city are you currently in? Are you with a roommate yourself, or are you placed by yourself?
Oh, no, I'm in a place by myself, but yeah, I'm downtown. So
okay.
Pretty around the city, pretty good.
Okay. Gotten used to the metro and just the different ways to get around to the Big O and over to Percival Molson and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I was confused at first because everything was in French, so I'm still working on my French language. But yeah, I'm pretty good. Go to practice and come home.
Dude, as we've told all players that we've had here on the show, is that even if you just say, as simple as bonjour or comment ça va, that means the most to the fans because they know that you are willing to learn the language to play here in Montreal. And that's all you need, man. That's really all you need.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, yeah. Our coach preaches that a lot about learning French language and stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about your time with the Alouettes so far. I mean, like you've the minute you got on the field, like I got the feeling that you got a second chance and you were going to make the most of it. And boy, have you ever. I mean, could you have even imagined what you've been able to do this year as far as your first year goes in the Canadian Football League?
Yeah, I really did, honestly. Like, that's why it hurt so much when I got cut. Because I was like, I was going to dominate. Like, when I got up here, I signed to play a position that I was familiar with in college. And just once I got adapted to the game through camp, I was like, I just can't wait for the first regular season game. And that time never came. But, once I got out there, I took my opportunity and ran with it.
All right. What's been your biggest highlight so far? Like, what's the one place or play that you've had that's just been like, okay, I've officially arrived in this league?
A play that I felt like I officially arrived. It's a lot of plays.
I can give you mine and see what you think, but
okay, yeah, I would like to hear both of y'all's, but I ain't gonna lie.
Right.
I was hearing a lot about Toronto and the running backs. A well-known, probably a Hall of Fame running back, Harris, and then Ouellette. And it's actually, I don't know, it's hard, but I remember I hit Harris like on the check down screen. He was hurt. I think he probably been hurt since. I mean, I hate it. Don't want to wish injuries on nobody, but it was a big hit. And I was just like, okay, I'm here. Like, against Toronto, one of the best teams in the league. So, yeah.
All right. Let me give you mine for you. It would be the first time you guys played in Ottawa. It was Caleb Evans with the comeback win. You had that game-sealing interception. To me, that was the moment. I mean, that hit you were talking about on Harris. Yeah, that was kind of like a, oh yeah, I've arrived moment. But to me, like that was like to close out the game, and it was a hell of a battle from you guys. But you had that sealing pick, and you should have taken it to the house, dude. But
yeah, I should have.
It's all good.
I should have. I remember. I think I messaged you about it too. It hit me up.
Yeah.
But I seen somebody didn't block their man behind me, so I was like, okay, I would hate for a receiver to come behind me and knock it out. Like, let me just go ahead and get down. But that game meant a lot. That was an emotional game. I had just lost one of my best friends. I call him my brother from college. The day of the game, I had found out like 30 minutes before. So for me to catch the game-winning sealing interception, that was crazy. That was lit.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Man,
that was crazy.
That is crazy.
That was God for me. Like, I'm big on my religion and my faith, and I just felt like it's crazy. Like, I don't know. But yeah. That's a good play. That's definitely up there too. That's in my top 3.
And that's the thing. Like, I mean, I think where a lot of people are starting to take notice of you, and just week after week after week, you have just been, as far as I'm concerned, you're killing it out there. It's absolutely incredible what we've seen from you so far.
Yes, sir.
So go ahead, Jim.
I was going to ask you. So obviously, we talked about earlier today that you were named the Alouettes nominee for Rookie of the Year. Who told you, and what was your initial reaction?
Our reporter, Francis, after practice, he gives us all the news, and he named everybody that was nominated. So once they called my name off, I was really kind of like nervous because I feel like there's a lot of rookies on our team that could have won it. Like, I feel like we had a real good rookie class. So I know I've been vouching for it, speaking about numbers and all that, and also rooting for the other rookies on my team that could have got it. But I was just happy, blessed, testament of the hard work, and it seems like other people are also noticing, so it feels good.
No, without question, and it's true. I mean, you talk about like Tyler Snead, Lawal Ugalak, like these are guys that I'm sure like you won, but I mean it wasn't. But it had to have been by the slimmest of margins, and it's not a knock on any of these guys. It's just a matter of like the work that you've done has, you see what they can do, and you've seen what Tyler's been able to do, what Lawal's been able to do. Like these, like you really couldn't lose anyways. But I mean, I think with the nomination of you just shows like the hard work that you put in, the story that you've had to tell this year really speaks volumes. And my man, I mean, I'm telling you right now, like this is only going to get bigger for you as the season comes to a close and we get into the Grey Cup playoffs and that. Like, you still got a lot of story to tell.
Yeah, for sure. I got a lot left. I got a lot of goals I want to reach. I want to really get like a triple crown is what I call it. I want to get the Grey Cup and then hopefully get an All-Star nomination or like an MVP of the Grey Cup. So I got a lot of big goals on my list. I believe so, and I appreciate it because those guys on my team, the rookies like Blue Wall and Sneed, like we talk all the time about if anybody gets it, hopefully it's one of us and we go out there and win it for the whole, Montreal Alouettes, fan base and everybody. So I appreciate it for sure.
Well, obviously, the next step is to get that Eastern nod, and Cliffy and I are expecting you to get that Eastern nod. So we would love to see you on, obviously, on Awards Day there in Niagara Falls, to see you and whoever your Western opponent may be, to see you there potentially picking up some hardware. So it's we're rooting for you, Reggie. We really are.
Yeah, I hope so. I appreciate it, man. I really do want to be at that award show. It'll be my first one, major one. And I know it's going to be tough coming out the East, but hopefully everybody look back at the film and look back at those games, especially at the opponents and guys that probably are in the East that can win that award. And, they vouch for me. So we'll see.
All right. As you know, we've got the playoffs coming up. It's going to be crazy. Montreal is going to be hosting the Eastern semifinal. How jacked are you knowing that you're going to be playing your first playoff game in professional football against your hometown fans and everybody that's going to be rooting for you? Talk to us about those feelings.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay focused on the game this week. So I got to keep all my emotions bottled up for that one. But I can go ahead and answer it because, next week, I'm still feeling this way. I approach every game the same. But it does. I mean, I think people be lying to you if they tell you, your first playoff game, it's not going to feel or hit a little different. So, I'm excited. I'm jacked up. It's going to be a whole lot of emotions. I'm finna put on the show. That's how I feel.
One question I wanted to ask you, how weird is it, in all your time in playing football, have you ever played a team back-to-back from the regular season into the playoffs?
Yeah, never. I hear a lot of bets on our team. They mad at how I guess they scheduled the season. But I'm like, man, we've been doing this all year against teams, so it's probably going to be a little different, but at least we get them back-to-back at home. So that'll be good. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, From what I'm hearing, Reggie, about the crowd for the Eastern semifinal, it's gonna potentially go more than what the home opener was. So it's gonna be loud there at Personal Molson for you guys. So
yeah, well, I don't know what the home opener was.
I know, that's the thing.
But I hope it is. About 25,000. I didn't think 20,000. So hopefully 25, 30.
Would be
you
nice.
Never know, man. I mean, especially too, you show up this week, you make that statement that to finish off the regular season on a good note, go into that Eastern semifinal. You're playing them again, so you'll get a chance to see what's doing with them. But man, I'm telling you what, this is an exciting time for all of us, I'd say, in Alouettes Nation.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man. Thank y'all.
All right, Reggie. We've taken up more than enough of your time, but just wanted to let you know that we've appreciated everything that you've done for us this year in Alouettes Nation. The fans love you. Everything is coming up for you, and we couldn't be happier for you. Couldn't be more proud of the journey that you've been on and what you've been able to accomplish. This has been nothing short of incredible. And guess what? It's not over yet.
For sure. I hope it ain't. I don't want to leave Montreal. But I thank y'all for real, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. Man, this place has been incredible. So, yeah, for sure.
All right. Before we let you go, where can everybody find you on social media?
Twitter. I forgot my Twitter handle. That's crazy. But Instagram, too. Just Reggie Stubblefield. You type it in. Something will probably pop up. So, hopefully it does. But, yeah. Reggie Stubblefield. Instagram, just put an underscore. So yeah, thank you, man.
All right, don't worry. We'll post the links for everybody so that they can give you the follow, show you the love. Reggie, thanks again for joining us. We definitely appreciate you here at the Alouettes Flightdeck, and just be great. Keep up the good stuff, and we will see you on Saturday.
I got you. Yeah, it's gonna be a show on Saturday. I guarantee you that.
All right.
Good dude, and I want some of those wings that he was having tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Wing Wednesday was such a thing for us going to college, or CEGEP, if you will.
Yeah, and I don't think it was said before too. And he was out with his teammates. He was having dinner. He took time out of his dinner, and he was having dinner with his teammates, which is amazing in itself. So
no, and I think that just speaks to the kind of quality person that he is. That he wants, he's all about the team bonding. He wants to develop that brotherhood, that camaraderie with his coworkers, essentially, but still took the time out to come and chat with us, which truly appreciated. I mean, like I said, folks, I mean, we've been talking about this for weeks upon weeks now. I mean, if you're not on the Reggie Stubblefield bandwagon, what the hell are you waiting for? Get your 35 jersey. Get on board with this dude. I mean, holy cow, this guy! I'm calling it right now, just like we did with Tyson Philpott last year. Mm-hmm. He will be the Eastern nominee for most outstanding rookie.
Okay,
and don't be surprised if we see him in Niagara Falls at the CFL Awards, and just watch him take the whole damn thing.
Also, if you want to see what Cliff and I did in video format of the actual interview, this is one of those ones that we felt it was video worthy. So stay tuned. Make sure you check all of our socials, and the interview with Reggie will be up on YouTube in the very, very near future. So stay tuned for that.
Yep.
It's funny. The game itself this week, no lines that I could find. You and I was trying to go back in the history to remember the last time that we had a glorified preseason game. That's what this is going to be. But I mean, if you watch the scrum today with Coach Kevin, with Coach Moss, Jason Moss, Cody's going to be playing at least a quarter, I think he said. You're going to get some of the other guys, and he brings up a very good point. And I know we're looking at it throughout the year with all the other teams like Toronto and Winnipeg. He has said it's tough. In the CFL, it really is tough to sit starters based off of the ratio, based off of the juggling that has to be done. It's tough to do. And I think for the Alouettes, really, it's because of the current situation that we have with the amount of people that we have on that we've had on the 6th game all year. Mm-hmm. So I can get it. Still, it's a 4 p.m. game on Saturday. Looks like the weather's going to hold out. It may not be sunny, at least as of yet, but still looks to be in the mid-teens. It's better than the weather we just missed at Edmonton. Oi. I feel for our guys. I feel for our guys over at the Turf District. So, I mean, it's minus 12 and snow. Oof. Yikes. But
do not like.
Yeah. So I understand that there are still some things that have to be done. Cody is this shy from getting 4,000. Austin Mack still wants to, as we mentioned before, he wants to try to get enough yardage to lead the league in receiving yards. Very slim chance, but unless he goes off, William Stanback is close-ish to 1,000. Also, the Alouettes are one defensive touchdown away from tying the team record.
Ooh.
They have 9 this year. They're trying to tie the record of 10, which is mind-blowing in itself, too. It just goes to show, you were talking about defense and how good these guys have just been on the ball all year.
Yep.
So, But again, it's a glorified preseason game. I would not expect it. I would expect to see all 3 quarterbacks. Caleb Evans and Davis Alexander. All.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and because they're coming off of a bye week, that's the thing too. Weird week, coming off of a bye, meaningless game. But I'm trying to remember the last time that we had such a meaningless game like this. Was it versus Toronto?
Last year, yeah.
That's right. No, but home game.
Oh, home game.
Home, where literally the last game of the year was a home game.
Oh, gosh.
And it meant nothing. I think it was Toronto a few years back. I'm trying to remember. I think we lost. It was pre-COVID. It was pre-COVID, obviously. So,
I think so. In any event, it's been a while. I mean, it's just the way the schedule worked out. I mean, it's funny because had things gone differently, as far as, like, for example, if the Tiger Cats were able to beat the Lions 2 weeks ago and the Alouettes lose to Edmonton, all of a sudden then you'd be paying attention, and all of a sudden this game would be for all the marbles essentially. But lo and behold, it's the way the schedule worked out. It's the way luck worked out as far as BC winning on a field goal and Montreal just coming back and beating the Edmonton Elks the way it was to solidify second place. And yeah, I got a feeling this particular game is going to be as vanilla and inoffensive as possible. Like, you're not going to see any secrets. You're not going to see any, like, you're just going to get the most basic offense and defense from both of these teams, really, because it doesn't matter who wins or loses. It doesn't change anything other than the Alouettes will either be 10-8 to end the season or 11-7. That's it's bragging rights essentially at this point, because these two teams are going to meet again in 2 weeks at Percival Molson Stadium for the Eastern semifinal. That's where things are going to count. That's where things are going to be important. This game, you have to play it. You just don't necessarily have to give an effort, and it sucks for the people that are going to go and expect a good football game. And truthfully, there's no, other than padding your stats, other than reaching those benchmarks for those certain players that you had mentioned, there's really no, you don't have to win this game. Like, no one's going to fault you if you just mail it in. And that goes for both teams, really. I mean,
2010, by the way, 2010, I know, was one of those years where the regular season finale at home and absolutely nothing. We had already clinched, and we were playing Toronto at home, so it was. Oh, it's so many similarities of that year versus this year.
Yep. And
who do we played Toronto in the last? Oh my God, Owls played Toronto 3 straight games. So we have, we got Toronto, except like we now Hamilton this week, and we got Hamilton next week. That's what it was in 2010. So it's one of those again. It's. You still have to play, and that's what Coach Moss said. You still have to play the game. You still got to play. You still have to.
You're right, and you don't want anybody getting rusty, especially coming off of bye week too. Like, it would be bizarre even to sit Cody Fajardo. I mean, personally, in my personal opinion, I would like to see him play in the fourth quarter, just to get that. I won't say rust necessarily, but at least get his body moving and get that muscle reps in. You know what I mean? Like get that feel.
I actually kind of like that, dude. I kind of like that. I like the way you're thinking. We'll have to check, obviously, on Friday for the depth chart. Speaking of, as I mentioned before, David Cote has been a full participant the first 2 or 3 days, because the Owls got a full week this week of practice. Still got KJG. I don't understand why they still have him listed. I think we all know. I don't expect him to be back this year. But also, this gives the Alouettes a potential chance of seeing some guys that we've not seen in a long, long time. Dude, okay, this is good. Bryce Notree seems to be, he's practicing fully. William Stanbeck seems to be over his illness. He's practiced fully. Avery Williams has practiced fully. Avery Ellis, though, is not. Armando Sewell, listing as an elbow, has not practiced. Here's one that we've not seen in a few weeks, Cliff. Greg Ellingson. He's been a full participant. Okay. Sean Jameson, full participant. Landon Rice, full participant. Tyrell Richards, full participant. And lastly, who I would love to see make his 2023 debut, a guy that we have been hoping to see all year to see what he can do to make it. But Reggie White Jr., he's been a full participant all week. So it is going to be figuring out this roster this week. It's going to be very interesting, especially if a lot of these guys can play, because is this Greg Ellison's swan song? We don't know. Reggie White, obviously, he wants to have a better year and lead into 2020, playoffs in 2024. I mean, will he be activated? Don't know. So there's still a lot of storylines, even though this is going to be a glorified preseason game on Saturday.
Yeah, and it's easy to say, okay, certain players, it would be a good idea to give them the week off, even though, again, everybody just came back from the bye, so it's a really tough call. But at the same time, certain players, you want to make sure that there's no possibility of them getting hurt, and the best way to make sure that they don't get hurt is they don't take the field. That being said, yeah, if as good as it would be to see Reggie White Jr. back in the lineup, even if it's just for this one game, for him to be able to say that, yes, I did come back, I did play a game in 2023. But who do you sit? Like, this is also kind of the thing is like, okay, who do you sit? Obviously, in anticipation of them playing in the Eastern semifinal. But at the same time, if somebody's like, for example, like an Austin Mack, for example, like that would be your first thought would be, okay, let Mack sit because he's proven himself. He's the man. There's no question about that when it comes to receiver. But again, if he really wants to get those 150 receiving yards, he's going to want to play, and you may want to give him the opportunity in order to do so. That being said, okay, you go down the list, and then, it's like I said, this team has really great receivers. Like, so who gets to sit for a Greg Ellingson or for a Reggie White Jr.? That's the tough part. Even if it is, as you said, a glorified preseason game, it's still a game check. It's still an opportunity. Like, do they go along with it saying, okay, I'll sit down knowing it's for the greater good, knowing full well that they will be playing in the Eastern semifinal. It's going to be interesting. I mean, again, depth chart doesn't come out till Friday. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the Alouettes play it safe and go with their starters, so to speak, or do they modify things and just give certain players a chance to get in there and others just, sort of, I won't say a complete day off, but maybe like the morning off, so to speak. It's going to be interesting to see. There's definitely a lot to take in on this, and I mean, we truly won't know. But I mean, it would be nice to see a lot of these guys that are coming off the injury list, like give them a chance to get some reps, just in case they are needed for the Eastern semifinal and beyond, because we know it's a grind. We know how tough it is, and it's almost unfortunate, like the way that the season worked out. As far as like, I'm sure the bye week would have been great. It would have been great to have that rest, but it's it is what it is. It's how the schedule worked out, and now you've got this game that essentially means nothing in the standings, and it's truly just a chance for people to pad their stats or get some reps in, like truly get some reps in. Like I sincerely hope that we see Caleb Evans and Davis Alexander play like the lion's share of this game. Like 3 of the 4 quarters, those guys should be splitting that. And I'll say it, like I would much prefer to see Cody Fajardo play in the 4th quarter.
I like your thinking, dude. I like your thinking.
To me, like I think that would be the best thing, because at that point, there's, again, we'll know what's happening, and like even if it's a tightly contested battle on Saturday, like no one's going to do anything stupid. I have to believe no one's going to do anything stupid, whether it's Montreal or Hamilton is trying to injure somebody or try to take out someone's star or anything like that. Like that's not going to happen. I truly don't see that. But at the same time, you got to play it safe a little bit too. So it's going to be interesting. We'll just leave it at that. It's going to be very interesting to see. I'm sure once the depth chart gets released, you and I are both going to look at it and be like, really? And
or there's a thought, or I never thought about that, or we'll see. Again, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. So it's it's Halloween, the Halloween finale. I don't know what they're calling it. Come dressed up. Come dressed up as your favorite player.
Yeah.
Come dressed up as a Big O seat. But still, tailgating will be there. $5 day for kids.
Kids can come in costumes too.
It's still football. Football on a Saturday afternoon in Montreal. You can't complain with all the fans there. Screaming the name of their favorite team, Alouettes.
Yeah.
So you can't. Yeah, again. So again.
If nothing else, too, maybe I won't call it a preview of the Eastern semifinal, even though technically it is. But you know what, folks, if you're just kind of waffling on whether you want to go to the Eastern semifinal, and first of all, if you are, shame on you, because
if the
Alouettes are hosting. Hello,
come on, Lego my ego.
Like,
don't waffle. Don't
play with us here. Like, you want to go to the Eastern semifinal. It's going to be a great game. This game, I can't guarantee it's going to be great, but come to the stadium anyways. Come enjoy an afternoon of football. The weather, if the weather holds off and it'll end up being nice, get out there, get to see your team, get to show the support, show the love. By the way, Reggie Stubblefield is going to be there. You just heard our interview with him. He's going to be cranked up. He's on fire. He wants to make the case. He wants to remind everybody, if you got a vote for most outstanding rookie, you better throw it Reggie's way. Simple as that.
It should be a good game. Don't forget to stay tuned for our Flight Deck Live post-game show following the game. Stay tuned to all of our socials for when it will be going live, but Cliff and I will be there. And then make sure you come back here next week as we preview the Eastern semifinal between the Montreal Alouettes and the Hamilton Tiger Cats from Percival Molson Stadium, where, so far as I heard, by the way, ticket sales sound pretty good. Because I was speaking with a ticket rep the other day when I went to go pick up my Jeshua Antwi Indigenous orange jersey, practice jersey, and it's looking pretty good. It may actually top the season opener, and that was with OLP. So stay tuned. Yeah, so stay tuned for more information on that as it does become available. But again, we will talk to you guys either on Saturday from Alouettes from Flight Deck Live, or on next week's show. We appreciate you guys. So for everybody here at the Alouettes Flight Deck, for Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We're on Final Approach.